Guys, it's me, it's Queen of Haru, and I'm coming to you today with another exciting edition of Ask An Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys about something that happened. I was reading I was reading a woman's page that I follow on Instagram. And she's an activist, she's pretty outspoken, and she was talking about how she got fired from her job because she would not sleep with her boss. She turned down his affection and he fired her. I don't know the details of it, but some kind of way he fired her. Now, when I posted about this on my page, everybody said, I hope that she gets restitution, hope she sues him, that kind of thing. Me too. I hope she gets paid from that. I'll sue him and I'll sue the company, I'll sue everybody. But there was a very important point that everybody seemed to miss, especially the women, seemed to miss when I made the statement. And when I pointed it out, a woman said she didn't give a fuck about it. Basically, I pointed out the fact that the reason why this happened was because he was feeling feelings that he did not know how to process. He did not know what to do with. So instead of dealing with them in a healthy, productive way, he dealt with them in an unproductive, unhealthy way. And after I pointed it out, as a matter of fact, she made the statement. I was very vague about it. I said something, but I didn't explain it the way I'm explaining it now. Because I feel like in our society, we do ourselves a disservice. And this is a disservice to women and men. And I don't think I've ever publicly spoken about this, but I'm going to talk on it now. We destroy our males. We destroy them. We destroy their emotional selves before they're grown. And then when they're grown men and they act out of that unhealthy, unproductive, negative energy that we collectively have instilled in them, then we're mad at them and we're upset. Now they're predators, now they're misogynists. Yeah, now they're creeps. They're tyrants now, but they weren't before. And this is my whole point. Our society teaches little boys from the time they can barely walk that you have to man up, not show your feelings, not feel anything. What you doing crying? I remember a woman told me one time, she said, I hate a crying ass man. And I was like, don't you got sons? You got sons. So you're teaching your sons not to cry, not to express their emotions, not to get in tune with what they're feeling. They have no productive coping mechanisms for feelings. And of course, this isn't all men, because some men are in good families and they do get this information. And some men figure it out along the way, luckily enough for them. But a great deal of the misogynists, a great deal of the men who are tyrants, abusive men who are sexually harassing women, men who've been called out in the Me Too movement, men who are actually guilty of doing these kinds of things, a great deal of them is because of that fact. Nobody ever taught them how to deal with their emotions. So if a woman disses you or turns you down, even if she's polite, they don't know how to deal with the rejection. They don't know what to do with that. They don't know how to healthily deal with the rejection. So what do? Something crazy, something unproductive. Instead of just saying, you know what, it's cool, sis, take care of yourself. They want to stab her. They want to beat her up. They want their baby mom to come fight her, They want to kill her, They want to do all these kind of things or fire her. You can't work here no more. And why is that? Because he was rejected by her. She hurt his feelings. He doesn't know what to do with that hurt. It's not her fault. She just ain't interested. And she has every right not to be interested in him. She can date whoever she wants to. Even if he's a good catch, she has every right not to be interested. But in his mind, it doesn't look like that. It looks like a rejection. Something's wrong with me. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm unattractive. I'm not enough. These are the messages that are reinforced to him. So then he gets angry, sad, anxious, depressed, and does something stupid like have her fired. You see? So it's not the woman's fault. She was just minding her own business. But it's society's fault and how this young man was raised. So all of us have a hand in this. As mothers, we have to teach our sons it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel your feelings. This is how you deal with your feelings. If somebody rejects you, this is how you respond. I know that it hurts. I know that it makes you feel bad inside, but you have no right to then throw up that negative energy on the next person, the person that made you feel that way out of no fault of their own. Okay? So I think that we're doing a disservice to our men and our women when we do this. We've got to do a better job of raising our boys in that capacity. We can't just tell them, boys will be boys anymore. We can't tell them to ignore how they feel anymore, because we're raising generations of men who are misogynists, who are abusive, who are tyrants, who are sexually assaulting people. And this is our fault as a society. It's not their fault. They come into the earth. It's their fault once they're grown, because you do have a responsibility once you're grown to look at your emotional wounds and deal with them. But the bottom line is that they shouldn't have got the wounds in the first place. We got to teach our boys it's okay to feel. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to cry. It's okay not to feel good when somebody rejects you. Who likes rejection? Nobody does. Almost everybody I know feels hurt or angry when they're rejected, at least in the initial stage. And then you work through those feelings in a productive manner and let it go. But a person who's never been taught to deal with their feelings in a healthy manner are going to do something typically destructive. You see? So we got to do a better job at that. And a lot of people, when I talk about that, they bypass it. They bypass it like, well, he was grown, he knew better, he shouldn't have did it. Yes, he was grown, he did know better, he shouldn't have done it. But he also shouldn't have had that programming in the first place. Had he have not had that programming, yeah, it might have still occurred, but it's a chance that it will occur less. If we want to change society, if we want to stop sexual assault, if we want to stop misogyny, if we want to stop serial killers who only kill women, if we want to stop these kind of things from happening, we have got to get real about how we're raising our boys. You can't heal if you don't get real. Y'all always know, I always tell you, we got to get real. We got to get real about how we're raising our boys. And raising them with this old macho shit, this old toxic masculinity, is not doing anything for them or for us. So now this man fires this girl. She sues him and whoever. 2 lives have been disrupted. 2. Because she had no money, had to do what she had to deal with and fight what she had to fight. And then he now got to give up some cash and deal with that aspect and might get fired from his job. So we got 2 people whose lives are disrupted. And if you go all the way back to the root cause is this young man not being taught how to deal with the feelings of rejection. Nobody said to him, it's okay if a woman says no. Ask somebody else. Somebody will say yes. Ask somebody else. I don't care. I learned that as a teenager. I don't care who you ask. If you ask 1,000 people, eventually somebody will tell you yes. One female don't like you, move on to the next one. And nobody ever had that conversation with him about what do you do when you feel hurt, when you feel sad, when you feel rejected? What do you do with it? You're going to be angry. You might be hurt. Then what? How do you productively deal with those feelings? So we all take L's. And that's what the bottom line is, that he needed to take that loss and move on. But for him, it was probably unbearable. He's angry. He's hurt. And then on top of everything, now I got to see you every day. So his solution is to have the poor child fired. But why would you do that? The girl got kids. It's not her fault she don't want to date you. You don't even know why she didn't want to date you. Because I'm telling you, he's taking it as a reflection on himself. It might not have been that. Maybe she got an STD. Maybe she don't want to date right now. Maybe she just got to have a bad relationship. Maybe she's in love with somebody else. It's a million reasons why somebody could tell you no. And we always internalize it as being us. I'm fat, I'm stupid, I'm lazy, I don't make enough, I don't do enough, my hair is not nice enough. We internalize it as is us. And then in this case, once we internalize it as is us, here come all those feelings. Feelings of inadequacy, sadness, shame, depression. So I'm not saying that his plight was any worse than her plight. I'm just saying that they both ended up with a plight because of society's poor job at handling how we deal with our men and their feelings. And I was guilty of this myself. I'm just now gaining compassion and I'm able to see things I couldn't see before, you know, because when I was younger, I used to be like, yo, you know, I value strength. I valued men that had strength and they manned up and, they could chop down trees and protect the family. I really admired that energy in a man when I was a young girl, but it's not realistic because even if a man is the most masculine, manly man in the world, when something hurts him, he should be able to feel it and express it. So we've taught them to repress and suppress their own feelings and then wonder why they come out crazy, why they come out toxic, why some of them are abusive, why some of them will rape or maim or fire or whatever, kill. Because you've basically made them squish their feelings for their entire lifetime and they have no idea how to deal with them. And now every time something happens, all they can think of is one of the unproductive coping mechanisms that they've come up with. We got to do better. That's the bottom line. We have to do better for our young men. So if you have a young man in your life, if you have an old man in your life, encourage him to feel his feelings. Encourage him to talk about his feelings. Encourage him to be able to cry. Encourage him to do those things. Because the more you encourage him, the less of a tyrant you'll have on your hands. Allow him to express himself. Encourage him to express himself. And some men have been trained and programmed to the point now, a lot of them will fight you on it at this point. But when they're younger, or when they're vulnerable with you, allow that. They deserve to be able to feel their feelings just as much as anybody else. And they also need the training so that they know how to be compassionate and deal with other people as they get older. So things like this won't happen anymore. If we do a better job, no more of us have to be fired. No more of us have to be killed by the misogynist in the alley. No more of us have to go through that, At least less of us. As I can't say that just because we raise them better, they'll all turn out to be, golden boys. But if we do a better job, and some of you have already done this. Some of you have sons and you've already figured this out. I never had a son. So it took me until now-ish to figure this out. But some of you already know this and you've done it with your own kids, But we've got to come away from teaching our boys this toxic version of masculinity. Masculinity does not have to be toxic. Masculinity can be divine. And that's what I'm learning now as I'm reading about different things over the years. The divine masculine, the divine feminine. When it comes to the divine masculine specifically, I'm seeing that masculine energy does not have to be this aggressive, overbearing, negative force. Masculine energy can be a very nurturing, supportive force, actually. It can be that other half of it. It's not the same as feminine energy. It's not the same energy as what we call yin energy. It is a little hotter. When I experience it's a little hotter, but it doesn't have to be negative. A lot of men are masculine without being negative. And we can have more of those kind of guys if we allow them to feel their feelings. If we teach them to cope with their feelings. Next time your son comes home from school and some little girl laughed at him that he tried to give a Valentine to, talk to him about rejection. Talk to him about how to process the feelings of rejection. If you're not sure yourself, Google it and you both learn about it together. If something happens, if somebody hurts his feelings or makes him angry, talk about how to deal with anger in a productive way. If you don't know, Google it. Read books about it and talk to your sons about it. You know? Our daughters can benefit from this information too. But typically, women are encouraged to deal with their emotions. It's like, oh, she's just being a girl. That's just how girls are. You people always say that. Oh, that's just how females are. And they flag off us being crying or emotional. But if it's a guy, it's like there's shame associated with it. And that shame follows them all throughout their lifetime. So they don't learn how to do anything with that shame other than use it unproductively. You could turn that around. You could do much better with that. So as a society, let's pledge to get better at that. I never thought me, that the head lesbian, would be advocating for men, but it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to advocate for our boys and to let them know that their feelings are okay. Because if you're human, you have feelings. And if you're human, you shouldn't be suppressing your feelings, your emotions, repressing them, because that's only going to lead to psychological and emotional problems. So the next time you see a man do something crazy like this, remember that. Remember that this is an illustration of what happens when a man is not taught as a boy to handle his own feelings and emotions. Okay? It's Queen O said her rule. That's my piece on it. Deuces.